morning. My name is Usman Jallo. I'm a software architect at Jannah.io. Jannah.io is a laboratory for developing cloud-native software applications. We have started a series into software DevOps, artificial intelligence, automation, and blockchain. We've done a few episodes where we sort of kind of just introduced the project to the public. And this is part of our continuation of the whole effort to basically showcase software development, data science, artificial intelligence, automation, all under one umbrella in the context that we're building a software app, and we're using the experience of building the software app to basically showcase computer science and all its flavors, that is specifically software development, artificial intelligence, automation, and blockchain. So this specific episode is where we start to get into more details, because the last video was sort of like a preview of all our applications. This video is more of a let's get into the details. So specifically, we want to give a comprehensive tour of our middleware application, which is the Django-based application. So as I had mentioned in the previous video, our code base is on GitHub. You can find that here. I'll just pull that one more time just to put it out there in the public. So specifically, the middleware application is located here in GitHub. So if you want to get the code base to this presentation, of course I'll post it in the video, but this is where it lives on GitHub. Okay, so just to be clear as we go, because sometimes people think I'm talking about them. We're not talking about you, whoever you think you are, unless if you're a business developer, unless if you're a venture capitalist, unless if you're an upcoming developer. So that means what we mean by upcoming developers is basically seniors in college. Okay. Seniors in college, what kind of college that is up to you. I'm not too concerned about, I think there's a lot of computer science departments in the country, around the world. They're all good. So, I don't have specific schools that I'm targeting, but basically the idea is if you've been studying computer science and you're about to graduate, you are part of our audience, okay? And so if you've been studying computer science and you're on the last year, specifically senior year, whatever program that is, so if you're into front end, if you're into back end, if you like DevOps, if you're into security, if you're the data scientist type or blockchain, these are the people we're talking to. And we're also talking to people who've been developing software in the same realm, as far as like front end, back end, DevOps, security, data science, and blockchain. Okay, so let's just put that out there. If you're not a computer scientist, we're not talking about you at all. So I don't care who you think you are. This is not a message to anybody who is not into computer science. This is for computer scientists. Okay, so if you are anybody out there, you're not into computer science, we are not talking about you. Get over yourself. Okay? Okay. I have to say this every time just to make sure people don't misinterpret what we're saying here. Okay? So it's a disclaimer. So just be patient with me. Every time I'm going to say that every time. Okay. So let's go to a recap real quick. So in our previous video, we kind of gave you a preview. We gave you a preview of our middleware, of our front-end apps, our web apps, our mobile apps, the iOS app, and the Android app. We've also showed you where our playlist is on YouTube. So all of this will be posted on the blog. So the previous videos you can find here. So this is just a quick recap, just to let people know. So this is where we last left off, obviously, right? So we last left off doing just a preview of our applications. Okay. So with every video, we have to kind of give a sense of, okay, it's a journey, right? So the whole series is supposed to be a journey-like venture in a sense that we're on a trip. You call that a software trip, an educational trip. It's a trip, okay? Why do I call it a trip? I call it a trip because where we're going already exists, right? So we're going to a destination that's already there. So this whole process of the trip is to learn how the destination get there, how the destination was put together, okay? So that's why it's called a trip. Now, where are we in this journey, right? So I call it the marvelous journey in the sense that it's very marvelous, in a sense it's mind-boggling, sometimes it's eye-opening. There are discoveries, there are sightseeing, there's adventure, okay? In data and computer science, there's always adventure because you're always going to learn something. Even if you've been doing it for a long time, if you've done a lot of software, there's always something to learn. There's always some new gotcha. There's always a quirk. There's always something you did not notice before. And every time you go on that same type of project, you discover and rediscover. Okay? That's why we call it a marvelous journey. It's marvelous indeed. Okay. So where are we now? Okay. So since the last video we did, we had implemented a Helm chart to deploy Jannah. Okay, so we're in a place now where we have a Helm chart we've built, and this Helm chart helps us deploy Jannah. And when we deploy Jannah, this is what Jannah looks like upon deployment. Okay, so this is what you're looking at here. Is Well, once we deploy Jannah and it's up and running and all its services are up and running, this is what it looks like. Okay, so you can see these are Jannah specific services here, but Jannah also depends on Istio. This is why we use this to do routing, basically traffic management. And Jannah use Kubeflow for machine learning pipeline building and operations. Okay, so what we want to talk about today specifically is we're talking about the Jannah Compute service, okay, which is basically Jannah Compute is the Jannah Django based application, okay. So that's where we are right now. So we basically, and we've also now, we're no longer using SQLite as our storage because when the project started, basically I was using SQLite as a database just to get the services, into a working state. But now that the services kind of, they're a little bit more mature, so I had switched now. So we're using an actual database, okay? So if you see here, this is Postgres, okay? So we're using an actual database. We're using Postgres as our main, you could think about it as our default database. Of course, we can use MySQL or any kind of database in the future, depending on the installation and customer we're dealing with. But as far as in the name of demo and the name of development,